Welcome back. In this lecture, we will calculate the current ratio for both Apple and Microsoft. On this slide, we'll first calculate the current ratio for Apple. Before we get started, what is the current ratio and why is it important? To start, the current ratio compares all of a company's current assets to its current liabilities. This metric is also known as the working capital ratio, which tells us about the company's ability to cover short-term debt with its current assets. Generally, we would want a company to have a current ratio above 1, which indicates that the current assets are at least equal to the value of its current liabilities. So, how is this ratio calculated? The current ratio is calculated as the current assets divided by the company's current liabilities. For Apple, we can see that they closed their fiscal year end with a current assets balance of $143.7 billion. They then had current liabilities at year end of $105.4 billion. Now, when you take current assets over current liabilities, you come up with a current ratio of 1.36 for Apple. So what does this mean? Here we can see that Apple has a current ratio of around 1.36. In other words, this means that for every $1 of current liabilities, Apple has $1.36 of current assets. Overall, this is sufficient since Apple would be considered liquid given that its current ratio is above 1. Now, let's do the same calculation for Microsoft. Again, we'll use the same formula where we'll take current assets over current liabilities. For Microsoft's year end, they closed with current assets of $181.9 billion. And then for their current liabilities, they closed at $72.3 billion. When we take Microsoft's current assets over their current liabilities, we come up with a current ratio of 2.52. So how does this compare to Apple? Well, we can see that Microsoft has a current ratio of 2.52. So this means that for every $1 of current liabilities, Microsoft has $2.52 of current assets on its balance sheet. Stepping back, the big picture that I want to highlight here is that although Apple has a healthy current ratio above 1, Microsoft has a much better current ratio at 2.5 times to 1. In other words, Microsoft would be considered more liquid than Apple on the basis of this metric.